Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Arizona.
Atlanta, Georgia on a steamy Sunday in the South. D-backs making more news here today. Another player is headed out while the D-backs try and capture the series and road trip finale against the Braves, the hottest team in baseball, winners of 9 straight. Arizona Diamondbacks baseball is presented by Sanderson Ford. Greetings from Turner Field. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly along the way. The D-backs here today, a chance to steal this series finale and end the Braves' winning streak. But they have already made headline news here this morning. Brandon McCarthy traded out of town, headed to the New York Yankees earlier today. Here he is.
It's still hectic trying to set up everything that's going to be happening over the next couple months, but it kind of settles in that you're leaving a team that you've been with now for a year and a half, and a great group of guys that you've really grown to like, and that so there's kind of those positive emotions, but then it's also mixed with kind of a sadness of what you're leaving behind at the same time.
So Brandon McCarthy headed for New York, coming to the Diamondbacks. Left-hander Vidal Nuno, 5'11" soft tosser. He will start Tuesday versus the Miami Marlins at Chase Field. This is the guy the Yankees found pitching in independent ball a few years ago. He was in the rotation earlier this year, Bob, and now he's a D-back.
Yeah, we'll look forward to seeing him on Tuesday. Unfortunately, at this time of year, sneaking up on that trade deadline, you hope your ball club is one that's looking to add players to push you toward that postseason, but that's not the situation with the Diamondbacks this year. I think these are just the first couple of shots over the bow. More players probably headed out the door.
Brandon McCarthy today headed to the Yankees, and the Diamondbacks getting some cash in return with Vidal Nuno. It's Diamondbacks and Braves, Game 3, the series and the finale of this long road trip. First pitch coming up next. You're watching Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona. By CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Jack in the Box. If the D-backs hit a home run today, score a free Jumbo Jack tomorrow with a purchase of a large drink. Atlanta, Georgia. The Braves riding their longest winning streak of the season, 9 straight. They've won 13 of 16. And now 11 games over 500 for the first time all year. Left-hander Alex Wood, the Georgia Bulldog, out to the mound. The Braves today going for their 3rd consecutive series sweep, and the D-backs trying to salvage the series and road trip finale here. They have lost 5 of 6. Certainly would make the flight back to Arizona, Bob, a lot better with a win here today.
Yeah, very selfishly for us, we always root for a win on getaway day. Makes that 3.5-hour flight seem a little bit shorter, and the Diamondbacks going to go to battle against a tough lefty today.
And here he is, the 23-year-old left-hander, the Georgia Bulldogs, 2nd-round pick by the Braves out of Athens. Here's Gerald Laird with a scouting report on lefty Alex Wood.
I like the fact that we backed him off and we were able to with some of the starters that we had. And but I see, he came back, he was hitting 91, 92, 93, and it looks like he's fresh and his innings are down. And I expect him to do the same. He's got 3+ pitches too with the fastball, curveball, changeup, and he ain't afraid to come at guys, and that's what's good. It's a good quality to have as a young starter.
He has gone back and forth from starter to reliever to starter this season. This is his 3rd start since he returned to the rotation.
The first 2 were pretty good. 7 innings of 3-hit shutout ball against the Houston Astros. Followed that up with 6 innings, 6 hits, and 3 runs against the Mets. As you heard Gerald Laird say, a fastball, curveball, changeup combination. You'll see more changeups to the right-handed hitters, more curves to the lefties, but he'll use all 3 of his pitches to everybody.
Well, a busy weekend here in Atlanta. Joe Thatcher, Tony Campana traded to the Angels to start this series. Today, Brandon McCarthy heads to the New York Yankees. And the D-backs that are here, that said goodbye to Brandon this morning. Brandon was out here actually playing catch when news of the trade broke. Here trying to win the last one in Atlanta as Chris Johnson crashes in from 3rd base. Ender Inciarte takes ball 1 from Alex Wood. We're underway. Toby Basner is the plate umpire. Cloud cover, partly sunny, partly cloudy, 81 degrees, a little more humid than we've seen earlier this weekend.
In that respect, we've really caught a break on this road trip, getting through Pittsburgh, getting into and out of Pittsburgh without a rain delay, and without the massive humidity you usually have this time of year. And same thing here in Atlanta. Threatening skies for game 1, but we very fortunately got that one in, and cool temperatures yesterday and again today.
Well, we've had beautiful weather here. Inciarte lifts this to the gap in left center. Justin Upton calls off B.J. Upton. 1 away. Let's take a look at the Diamondbacks lineup against lefty Alex Wood.
Inciarte at the top. Yesterday, his first career home run. Aaron Hill batting 2nd. Paul Goldschmidt hitting 3rd. Martin Prado in the cleanup spot today, while David Peralta moves up to the 5-hole. Cody Ross out in right field. Tuffy Goswish sighting, doing the catching today. Nick Ahmed at shortstop, and left-hander Wade Miley on the mound for the D-backs.
Ball 1 to Aaron Hill. There's Tuffy Goswish right behind Kirk Gibson and Alan Trammell in the D-backs dugout. Popped up first base side. Freddie Freeman is under it. 2 down. The Braves defensively behind their left-hander.
Upton in left, Upton in center, Upton. No, wait a minute. Hayward in right. We got Justin in left, BJ in center, Jason Hayward in right field. It'll be Johnson and Simmons on the left side of the infield once again. Tommy LaStella and Freddie Freeman on the right side. Christian Bethencourt doing the catching today for lefty Alex Wood.
Maybe they could go get an Alou brother or something to close out that outfield. I'm sure they're happy with Jason Hayward. Here's Paul Goldschmidt now. Goldie top 10 in the league in hitting. 3rd in RBIs and 4th in OPS. All-star starters will be announced later today, and we anticipate that Paul will be starting at first base for the National League. Strike 1 from Alex Wood. Bob Wood is funny. He kind of rears back and then lets it go.
A little bit of a herky-jerky motion in his delivery. Yeah, really reaches out with that right foot.
Chris Johnson can't make the bare hand play, and Goldie's aboard. He has now reached base safely in 27 straight ball games. Infield single.
Yeah, Johnson may be trying to do a little bit too much that time with the barehanded play. You can see how deep he was playing for Goldie. I think that made him believe he had to go to the barehanded play. Looked like he had more time, could have possibly gloved it and thrown across to first, but as it is, Goldie on with an infield single.
For the former Brave, Martin Prado batting cleanup this afternoon. And the throw over gets by Freddie Freeman, and Goldschmidt advances. That is an error on the pitcher, Alex Wood.
As it should be. That step-off, pick-off move to first base is very effective, but I think you need to set it up. You don't need to show it on your first pick-off attempt. Show them a couple of bad moves and then snap that step-off throw over to first base. You got a better chance to get the runner, but Wood throws it down the right field line, moving Goldie into scoring position. Take advantage.
Prado 268 on the year in 3 home runs. He's got a 5-game hitting streak. Martin Prado, reportedly a trade target of the Toronto Blue Jays, who need third base help, and they like Prado's infield versatility. And if there's another move coming, and it certainly seems like there might be based on the comments from Tony La Russa and Kevin Towers and others, Martin Prado could be a guy that you see moved by the Diamondbacks. This is lifted in the air to right. Easy play for Hayward. We are playing ball in Atlanta. For the first, B.J. Upton will lead it off against your Arizona Ford starting pitcher for the Diamondbacks. Wade Miley, his catcher today, is Tuffy Gozowicz.
Whenever Wade has success, he's controlling his fastball, command his fastball both sides of the plate, and he's got to pitch into hitters and make hitters uncomfortable. And I think when he does that, he's at his best because that makes his off speed more effective.
B.J. Upton jumps on the first pitch. Easy fly to center for Ender Inciarte. 1 pitch, 1 out. Wade Miley, perhaps his best start as a D-back his last time out. Tuesday in Pittsburgh, 8 innings of 2-hit ball against the Pirates, 10 strikeouts before it got away in the ninth.
Yeah, really looked good in that outing against the Pirates. Gave up the back-to-back hits to start the bottom half of the 9th inning. Gave way to the bullpen, and unfortunately things went the wrong direction, but it doesn't take away from those first 8 innings when Wade was absolutely on top of his game.
Looking for a repeat performance are Mike Harkey and Kirk Gibson. Here's the shortstop, Andrelton Simmons. Strike one.
A little bit deceiving. Both of those runs scored after he was out of the ball game.
Tried to get his first ever complete game. First 2 in the ninth reached against him, and then things kind of fell apart from there. But it doesn't take away from those first 8 innings. He was superb. Simmons, 261, 5 home runs. A very hot bat in this lineup right now. He's hit safely in 6 straight. Trying to bunt for a base hit here. Miley cannot make the play. The throw gets by, but Simmons will have to stay put at first. Good job by Aaron Hill to scamper over there and get the errant throw from Wade Miley.
Bunt had a lot of backspin, kind of checked up on the left side of the infield, forcing Miley to come in a couple of extra steps to make the play. Awkward throw on to first, gets by Goldie. And you see Simmons right there made a move toward second base, so he's got to hustle back to first. He's a live runner at that point, and as you said, Aaron Hill, Johnny on the spot to back up that bad throw. Simmons really had to hustle to get back to first.
Freddie Freeman. Tuffy goes, a wish keeps it in front. Freeman, 294, 13 homers, 4 hits and 9 at-bats in this series, including a double and a triple yesterday. Had 2 RBIs on Friday night. He has scored 4 runs in the series, and as usual has been a handful. This is a lefty who hits lefties.
301 batting average against left-handed pitching this year. 5 of his 13 home runs have come against lefties.
And his career against the D-backs, 18 extra base hits, 25 RBIs in 23 games. There goes Simmons. Base hit into right center. Simmons will take the turn and head for third.
Diamondbacks had the right guy covering. The shortstop Nick Ahmed was covering the bag on the steal attempt. Aaron Hill stays home, but Freddie Freeman hits it so hard Aaron Hill can't get there with a dive. Braves have him on the corners for Justin Upton.
Well, the Braves scored 2 in the first inning on Friday. They got 1 yesterday. And here today they have first and third, 1 out for Justin Upton. Upton at 275 now with 17 home runs. He drove in 3 yesterday, including a 2-run homer. 3 hits and 4 RBIs in the series. This was Upton yesterday, the first home run in 6 games for Atlanta.
The Braves are a team that built around the home run. Upton with the opposite field blast in yesterday's game. During the course of this winning streak, I think they've only hit, 1 or 2 home runs. A team that had scored close to 40% of their runs this year via the homer.
Well, that's the other thing they do a lot is swing and miss. And they've had a new look to the lineup, and it's been very effective with B.J. Upton up in the leadoff spot. Simmons has moved up into the 2 spot. Hayward scuffling a bit now, batting 5th. They haven't been as home run dependent as they usually are, and they've been winning games without hitting homers as Upton strikes out. This is the lineup for Atlanta against the left-hander Wade Miley.
We've seen the top 4 already. B.J. Upton in the leadoff spot. Simmons batting second. 2 hits in the ball game yesterday. Drove in 4. Freddie Freeman with a hit already today, batting third. Justin Upton in the cleanup spot. Jason Hayward out in right field. Chris Johnson at third base. Tommy La Stella at second base. Christian Bethancourt, good-looking young catcher behind the plate today for lefty Alex Wood.
Bethancourt is a sensational catch-and-throw guy with a big arm back there. A big out again for Miley. It's Jason Hayward with runners on the corners and 2 down. Hayward 245, 8 homers. A pair of hits and RBIs in this series, but slumping right now. Hasn't been quite the same guy since he was moved down from the leadoff spot. Last 2 weeks, he's hitting under $140. Only 2 extra base hits the last 2 weeks. On the ground to third, easy play for Prado. They go the short way for the force on Freeman, and Miley does a good job of stranding 2. No score through 1 at Turner Field. Day weekend, Fox Sports Supports is especially proud to recognize the Army's Gold Star Pin Campaign, which honors the families of fallen service members. To learn more, visit goldstarpins.org. Second inning, no score. Left-hander Alex Wood out there. He'll work to David Peralta, Cody Ross, and Tuffy Gozawish. 5, 6, and 7 in the Arizona second. Here is the hard-hitting David Peralta, 327 on the year. He is 3 for 8 in the series.
Five hitters in the ball game for the Diamondbacks. Alex Wood has fallen behind every one of them, 1-0.
Hard to first. Freeman will take it himself. 1 away.
Which is a good thing for the Braves because Alex Wood got caught spectating that time. Ground ball right to the first baseman. He was still standing on the dirt on the mound watching the play.
Brings up Cody Ross. Chance to get Cody's bat in there today against the left-hander. Starting in right field. Gerardo Parra getting the day off. Still hasn't thrown a strike one. Cody 228 and a homer. He's ahead 2-0. Cody 271 versus lefties this year. It was over 390 last season. 3-0 to Cody Ross.
You saw from those numbers Cody hitting for a lot higher average against the lefties, which he's done throughout his career, but the power numbers just haven't been there.
A one-out walk for Cody. Yeah, he is hitting constantly, early hitting in the cage, batting practice, but just not driving the ball like we've seen him do before.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 6 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Tuffy goes a wish. There's strike one from Wood. Tuffy getting his first start behind the plate since June 19th, 250 on the year with a homer. Just his 11th start this season, as Miguel Montero leads all major league catchers in both games started and innings caught behind home plate. In the air to right, Hayward. 2 down. Very Sunday feel to the ballpark today. It's kind of easing into things here. See some empty seats scattered here and there. It is 4th of July weekend after all.
A little bit smaller crowd, obviously. 4th of July with the fireworks and what have you. Full house here at Turner Field. Yesterday, a nice crowd. A little bit fewer today.
A mellow vibe here. Recovering. Well, some of us did have off days yesterday.
Yes, we did.
Nick Ahmed. The start at shortstop today. First pitch swinging along the right field line. Hayward coming in. Wood strands the one-out walk. No score in Atlanta. McCarthy traded to the New York Yankees. Here's D-backs Chief Baseball Officer Tony La Russa.
But at this point, with everything that you're facing, the realistic thing is, if there is a move that makes us better going forward beyond this year, I think the smart move is that you do it.
So Brandon McCarthy, who turns 31 years old tomorrow and was here throwing early this morning, is on his way to New York. And Vidal Nuno is on his way to Arizona. He will start Tuesday against the Marlins. Chris Johnson, the third baseman, takes strike one.
We mentioned it briefly in the open. Unfortunately, as you approach that trade deadline, if you're not one of the teams that's looking forward to some postseason action, you're basically a yard sale. People are looking to steal your assets or trade for your assets, and every team hope it doesn't get to that at the end of the trade deadline, but unfortunately that's where the D-backs are this year.
And a great interview with Tony La Russa, conducted by our own Todd Walsh. You saw a lot of that on the pregame show. 1-2 to Johnson. So what do you think about the move, Bob?
Well, I think we played that soundbite from Tony La Russa. Moving forward, was Brandon McCarthy going to be a big part of this moving forward? And the way he gave up hits, I don't know. I think the Diamondbacks feel that they can upgrade in that starting rotation. They've got a few pieces they'd like to build around, and they made the decision that Brandon wasn't going to be part of that future.
He was a free agent, or still will be a free agent at the end of this year. Here's Tommy La Stella, the second baseman. Vidal Nuno, 5'11" left-hander, turned 27 years old later this month, from California. 2-5 with the Yankees. A 5.42 ERA, 17 appearances, 14 starts. Miley jumps ahead 0-2. Nuno not a hard thrower, more of the soft tossing lefty type. Works high 80s with his fastball, fringy stuff, cutter, curveball, slider change. Kind of, if you're looking for a comp, maybe a Bruce Chen or a Jason Vargas kind of guy.
And once again, as we approach the trade deadline, some of these deals aren't just based on the talent of the players involved. Sometimes there's contractual issues, and money that you want to move from one side of the table to the other. It's foul down the first base line. Goldie took it to the bag anyway, just in case. I think that could be the case with Brandon.
Yeah, various reports out there that the Diamondbacks will pay somewhere between $1 and $2 million of the more than $5 million owed Brandon McCarthy for the rest of this year. And so the Yankees are essentially renting McCarthy for the second half of the season before he becomes a free agent. (0-2) on Tommy La Stella. After Miley opens up the inning by striking out Chris Johnson.
Really? Chris Johnson struck out?
For the 5th time in the series. He is 0 for 9 with 5 strikeouts in the series so far, Chris Johnson. I know that's surprising for D-backs fans to hear, but we just report.
Well, the Braves have been patiently waiting for CJ to go into one of those streaks that go the other way, where he starts to hit home runs in bunches, but hopefully they'll have to wait at least another day.
Striking out more than 25% of the time this year. Well, La Stella was in an 0-2 hole. Now he's back even. His bat, which has really been struggling, has come alive in this series, 4 for 7 so far. And he's got a base hit to right.
Before Christian Bethancourt comes to the plate to take his at bat, let's take a look at our Valley Honda keys to the game. Watch out for the first pitch against this Braves team. Also, the Diamondbacks have allowed 25 first pitch homers, most in the majors. Wade Miley, 6 first pitch homers, most in the majors. And Wade really needs to go 7 today. 24 times this season, Diamondback starters have gone 5 or fewer innings, including Mike Bolsinger yesterday. So it'd be nice to get some length out of Wade today.
Christian Bethancourt, rookie catcher, a 3-hit game yesterday. He's hit in 4 of the 5 games in which he's played this year. And they'll keep an eye on La Stella down there. A couple of stolen bases. This has been one of the top catching prospects in all of minor league baseball for several seasons now. They've been waiting for the bat to catch up. The defense is off the charts, especially the throwing arm. Still only 22 years old. He'll turn 23 in September. From Panama, signed by the Braves as a 16-year-old in 2008.
We've seen a lot of Gerald Laird in this series, not so much on the field, but in some of our pregame scouting reports on the Braves pitching staff. And, Gerald's one of those veteran backup catchers whose main job, other than playing on the field once in a while, is to tutor a young catcher like Christian Bethancourt. And he has been very upfront. Just trying to make this kid as good as he can be, as quick as he can get there.
Atlanta with his without its big power hitting catcher Evan Gattis on the DL with a bulging disc in his back. So right now it's Laird and Bethancourt, the veteran and the kid. On a hop to short, Nick Ahmed charges and throws him out. La Stella moves up, 2 down.
Nice play by Nick. He made it look relatively routine, but he had to get that ball into and out of his glove quickly. Nice quick exchange right there. Only took one step to unload that ball to first base. Bethancourt, being a young catcher, still runs pretty good. That'll go away.
The wear and tear on the knees tends to cut down on the 40 times, I guess. Huh?
Oh, yeah.
Alex Wood waves at that one 0-1.
0 for 14 with 8 punch outs on the year. Well, we say it all the time. Anybody with a piece of wood in their hands is dangerous. Still have to execute your pitches, but you'd like to think Wade Miley could make quick work of his opposite number here.
Especially if his name is Wood.
Ah, there you go.
0-2. Three strikeouts for Miley. No score through two innings here in Atlanta. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Coming up, Bender and Ciarte, a homer yesterday. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly, Todd Walsh with you. It's that time again, fans. Tweet us your AT&T fan photo with a hashtag and the Twitter of the whole thing, AZ Fan Photo, for your chance to have it shown in our game broadcast brought to us by AT&T. A little worried about Richard. He had a late night last night.
Oh, sorry to hear that. He knows what a major responsibility that AT&T fan photo is, and today's a big day for him. Last day of the road trip.
I want to go out on a win.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, to be quite honest, it's been a little sketchy. We've had to kind of work it a little bit to make some sense out of some of his picks, but big day for Richard today.
Well, that's usually how things go with him. Wade Miley leads off to third. Miley and Ciarte Hill 9-1-2 against left-hander Alex Wood. And Wade's a hitter up there, 6 for 34. At least he'll tell you he is anyway. Alex Wood will purposely make himself work quickly, kind of like Wade Miley. Ball's behind 3-0, but there's his strike. Wood said one of the keys for him is last time out, a reminder, pick up the tempo, keep it going. Notice here he's working pretty fast here. He walks the pitcher to lead off the inning, but they will look to get him to work quicker and get a little more aggressive out there.
We've been watching Alex Wood here for 2 innings plus. Watch the ball in his left hand right there as he sticks it out behind his body and really allows the hitter to get a good look at it. The only reason I bring this up is when I was managing the team, Brian Anderson, for whatever reason, seemed to be getting hit really hard with his best pitch, the straight changeup. And he threw his side session in St. Louis, as a matter of fact, one day. And as we watched him, the whole coaching staff got behind the catcher to watch and see if there was something B.A. was doing to tip off his pitches. Well, as it turns out, he had a similar thing to Alex Wood where he stuck that ball out behind his back. And when he threw the fastball, all you could see was white on the baseball because of the grip that he had on the 2 seams.
So you knew it was coming.
And then conversely, when he was throwing a slider or a changeup, you could see a big red seam cutting down the middle of the baseball, and it was really apparent, very obvious to us watching in the bullpen.
Well hit to center field, but playable for B.J. Upton.
I'm just wondering if Wood is doing something similar where you can discern what pitch is coming, if you can get that quick peek behind his back there as he extends that ball out behind his back leg.
Gives you a good peek at it anyway, that's for sure. It's a very unusual delivery.
You know, and for Brian Anderson, a guy that really had a good straight changeup, and when he threw it, especially in fastball counts, you expected the hitter to be out in front of the pitch a little bit, but too many opposing hitters were right on his changeup, which usually is an indicator that they see something in that delivery that lets them know the changeup is coming. And sure enough, after a bullpen session at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, we saw it. Brian corrected it and pitched much more effectively the rest of the year.
Well, Roger McDowell, the pitching coach here. Wood, as we mentioned, has kind of been their Josh Cole mentor. Bullpen rotation, bullpen. Moved all around. There he is. Alex Wood, 6-6, a 3.19 ERA. 20 appearances on the year, but only 9 of those starts. Aaron Hill lifts this in the air to short right field. Jason Hayward coming in. And that's the second out.
I think a lot of people around baseball were surprised initially when Roger McDowell became a coach, and that he's had the success he's had here in Atlanta, because he was quite the free spirit as a player. I don't think anybody thought he would ever take anything seriously enough to be good at it, but he's turned into one of the best pitching coaches in the National League.
He was, after all, the second spitter from Seinfeld.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that.
He was up on the grassy knoll.
Yes, he was.
Here's Goldie. Well, he was part of that crazy '86 Mets team. Those guys were nuts.
Yeah, I remember video one time he came out and actually put his jersey on the bottom half with his legs through the sleeves and his pants over his head and was dancing around in front of the Mets.
Paul Goldschmidt yanks that one down the left field line. It's off the pole and gone, a home run. Goldie's 16th, and it's 2-0 Diamondbacks. 17 games since his last home run, and now he's got number 16. And that one clanked about 3/4 of the way up the foul pole.
Boy, is that good to see. Not only does it spot the Diamondbacks to a 2-0 lead here in the top half of the third, but Goldie really turning a pitch around and pulling it hard to left field. He's so conscious about staying inside the ball, not committing too early. Every now and then, I'd like to see Goldie do this. Just turn one around, bang it off that foul pole, just to keep the opposing pitchers honest.
2-0 D-backs. Martin Prado looks at strike one. 17 games since his last homer, only 5 RBIs during that homerless stretch, mostly because he's been pitched around to a large extent and has not had the opportunities to be the run producer that he normally is. He's been more of a base runner with all these walks he's been getting. 20 walks over his last 17 games. And he's got both D-backs hits here today, one of them a 2-run homer.
Goldie probably had extra bases, if not a home run taken away by a great catch in right field by Jason Hayward in yesterday's ball game. Saw a replay. I don't know if it would have cleared the fence, but if Hayward doesn't make that great leaping catch up against the wall, it for sure goes for extra bases.
On the ground to third, Chris Johnson throws out Prado. That ends the inning, but a walk to Miley. A homer by Goldie, his 16th of the year, and it's 2-0 D-backs here in Atlanta. You can vote for the final player for each league roster until Thursday, July 10th at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. So go to dbacks.com and cast your All-Star Game final vote for the final 2 All-Stars for the game in Minnesota, July 15th, only on Fox. Vote at dbacks.com or on your mobile phone. 2-0 Diamondbacks. Goldie's 16th of the year. B.J. Upton leads off the third. And he's quickly down 0-2. E.J. Upton, a career-high 11-game hitting streak since he was moved into the leadoff spot on June 23rd. And 10 of those 11 games have been Braves wins. This has worked out remarkably well. And as soon as I say that, he strikes out.
Keep saying it.
Exactly. Well, he was hitting about 200 when Freddie Gonzalez said, you know what, you're going to be my new leadoff guy. And he's hit in every game since.
Sometimes you make a move like that as a manager just based on a gut instinct. Sometimes you want to put a guy at the top of the order, maybe to put a little extra pressure on him subconsciously. Hey, I'm the leadoff guy now. I've got to find ways to get on base ahead of the run producers in the middle. Sometimes it's the guys hitting behind him in the order that may get him better pitches to hit. For whatever reason, BJ has had a resurgence offensively.
And here's the other part of this equation, Andrelton Simmons, who singled his first time. He was moved into the 2-hole right behind B.J. Upton, and Simmons has been hitting ever since. He's hit safely in 6 straight and 9 of 10. He's 1 for 1 today. He's had exactly 2 hits in each of his last 4 games. And yesterday matched a career high with 4 RBIs. He and Upton have flourished in the 1 and 2 spots in this order. And not coincidentally, so have the Braves. They've won 9 in a row. Miley misses there, 1 and 2. And since he's moved up in the lineup into this 2 spot, Simmons says he feels like he's more involved in the game. He's been hitting all over the place since he was an Atlanta Brave last year and this year. Fly ball center field, Ender Inciarte. 2 down for Freddie Freeman.
Well, when you're the number 2 hitter in the lineup, you better be involved quickly because you know you're going to hit in the first inning. And I think there's something to be said for that. If you're the 7th or 8th hitter in the lineup, pretty good chance you're not going to hit until the second time through, second inning, maybe even the third inning sometimes. So if you want to get immediately involved in the game, put a guy at the top of the order.
Well, here's another part of that. It's Freddie Freeman, and he's, as usual, swinging at the first pitch. Simmons' move to the 2 spot has coincided with B.J. Upton's run here as the leadoff man. And Simmons thinks he's been getting better pitches to hit because he's got Upton's speed on base ahead of him, and he's got Freeman behind him. So he is getting pitched to, and he's taking advantage. That's a foul ball right by Goldie at first. 1-2.
Wade Miley, we heard Tuffy talking about what he needs to do to be successful, and so far he's done that. He's keeping the ball down, jumping ahead in the count. 5 of the last 6 Braves hitters have been down in an 0-2 hole.
He's got 4 strikeouts, giving up just 3 hits, all singles. Make it 5 strikeouts for Miley, who works a 1-2-3 third. We head to the 4th at Turner Field. Miley mowing them down. Goldie is homered. It's 2-0 D-backs.
On Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you in part by your local Lexus dealers and by Bluebell Ice Cream. Celebrate summer with Bluebell's newest flavor, Magic Cookie Bar. It's a home run.
David Peralta leads off the 4th and takes strike 1 from Alex Wood. 2-0 Diamondbacks. Paul Goldschmidt, a 2-run homer, is 16th of the year. Peralta drops that one in for a base hit in front of Hayward. And he's aboard again. His amazing journey to the major leagues, his remarkable success through the first month or so with the D-backs. And David Peralta says it's like a dream. He doesn't want to wake up.
Now, we've seen David hit a lot of balls right on the button, screaming line drives all over the field. But this last base hit, an example of how he was able to make an adjustment on a tough pitch. Really extended his swing. Breaking ball out over the plate and down, but managed to hook it back to right field for a base hit.
Cody Ross walked his first time up.
Now, this is not a textbook. This is not the line drives we're used to seeing off the bat of David Peralta, but a nice adjustment nonetheless. Goes out there and gets it, kind of pulls the top hand off the bat to get a little bit more extension. Got enough of it to drop it in front of Hayward for a base hit.
And what a journey it's been for David Peralta. Really is an amazing story. Signed as a pitcher out of Venezuela by the Cardinals. Had to give up pitching after
A couple of very serious shoulder injuries, went back to Venezuela. Was away for several years, returned to the U.S. as an outfielder playing independent ball, which means you're on a team that's not affiliated with any major league club. You're just kind of out there on your own doing it. Vidal Nuno was like that, pitching in the Frontier League a few years ago when the Yankees found him. But Peralta was a Grand Valley White Wing. He was a Wichita Wingnut. He was playing in Amarillo when he finally got another chance. The D-backs signed him there, and a year later, here he is.
Now, there was a time that independent ball was considered a death sentence. If you weren't with an affiliated team, you were out in the hinterlands. Nobody knew you were out there playing, but a lot of teams realized that occasionally a guy like a David Peralta slipped through the cracks. Want to continue to play baseball, they're willing to go to the independent leagues to do it. So more and more major league teams have started to scout the independent leagues.
Double play ball here. Johnson, LaStella, Freeman, they roll it. 5-4-3. Cody Ross was ahead in the count 3-0 after walking his first time up, but it's into 2 outs right there. Two outs, nobody on now for Tuffy. Tuffy goes a wish, flying out his first time. Tuffy, since his last start, which was back on June 19th, has had only one appearance. And that was a big pinch hit single in the D-backs' 11th inning comeback against the Indians back at Chase Field just before this road trip started. One of the more dramatic games of the year. But when he plays, he hits. Over his last 11 games, 9 starts, hitting .324. Two-one misses. 3 balls and a strike now. Alex Wood has not been tremendously pitch efficient here so far this afternoon.
Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. The day after every Diamondbacks victory, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code D-backs50 at papajohns.com.
D-backs fans here at Turner Field with us. So a whole bunch of fans in the hotel lobby yesterday, going back and forth to the ballpark, enjoying the Atlanta weather. 4th of July weekend. 2 outs, 3-2.
Wonderful celebrations for Independence Day here in Atlanta this past Friday, including all the traffic that goes along with that.
That's every day. Andrelton Simmons behind the bag. He throws out Gozawish, and Wood is out of the 4th. It's 2-0 D-backs at Turner Field.
came out, and I know they've been voting a lot lately. And it's just it's a huge honor, and just very thankful for all the support they have for me and all of our players and team. And it just shows what type of fans we have, and they're awesome, and we really appreciate the support.
All-star voting. As of Tuesday, Goldie had more than 1 million vote lead over Mark Reynolds, who is making a sudden surge, along with a lot of Milwaukee Brewers. And the starters for both leagues will be announced later today, and we anticipate that Goldie will be a starter, as well he should be. July 15th, only on Fox, Target Field in Minneapolis. Justin Upton leads off the fourth against Wade Miley, who's retired 5 in a row and has 5 strikeouts. One of them was Justin Upton, his first time up. It's a dangerous lineup for Wade Miley to face. Got some big thumpers in this lineup. One of them's right here. But it's a lineup that just crushes left-hand pitching. Even the Braves lefties hit lefties. And Upton is in there at better than 350 against left-hand pitching this year, including 6 home runs. 352 versus left-hand pitching this year for Justin Upton. So Miley being careful. It's 2-1. He struck out Upton his first time up. Justin striking out more than ever, nearly 30% of the time this year. That's a career high rate. 2-2. 3-1, pardon me. Big home run yesterday. Drove in 3. A leadoff walk. It's a tough line to walk for Wade Miley. You want to be careful with some of these guys who do hit left-hand pitching so well. And on the other hand, you don't want to put base runners on ahead of guys like Hayward and Chris Johnson if you can make it.
Hayward, unlike some of the other Braves lefty, he struggles against left-handed pitching, hitting only 133 this year. 2 of his 8 home runs have come against lefties. Really looking for that ground ball double play now.
Jumps ahead 0-1. Hayward does have a couple of home runs against lefties this year, but there are the splits. He's at $130 or so. He has struggled really the last couple of weeks since he was moved to 5th in the order.
We were talking the other day about Jason Hayward's debut in the major leagues here at Turner Field against Carlos Zambrano back on April 5th, 2010. Kind of a foreshadowing. I mean, he just absolutely mashed that ball. Full house here at Turner Field for the day, and as we talked about in game 1 of this series, he's never quite taken that and really run with it. Some of it has to do with the beating he took, a broken jaw, but man, what a start.
Goldie will tag him out as Justin Upton advances. Jason Hayward, the local kid from McDonough, Georgia, first-round pick in the 07 draft. And that rookie season, still his only all-star appearance, hit .277 that year with 18 home runs. But he's had only 1 season since 2010 in which he's had similar numbers. That was 2 years ago. Chris Johnson 0 for 9 in the series with 5 strikeouts. Base hit to center. They wave Justin Upton in. Ciarte with that big arm, but the throw is not in time. RBI single for Johnson. Braves on the board. It's 2-1. Leadoff walk. Comes back to bite Miley.
Never a good thing. Just a middle of the plate fastball here to Johnson. Got jammed a little bit, but finds that hole up the middle of the field. You mentioned Inciarte's big arm. That's all well and good, but you need to make a throw that is at least in the vicinity for Paul Goldschmidt to cut it off.
Doug DeCenzo, his third base coach, was waving Justin Upton in the whole way. So the Braves have a run and a one-out base runner for Tommy La Stella, who singled his first time. La Stella called up from AAA Gwinnett earlier this year, just at the end of May, and did very well. Second base has been an ongoing issue in Atlanta for several seasons now. And they think this young man is the answer. First 17 games, all starts, he hit almost .390. But then suddenly, without any warning, La Stella went into a 3 for 41 slump. 3 for 41. That's wearing it for a while. 1-2. But they like the bat. Freddie Gonzalez says this is an alley-to-alley, gap-to-gap guy. Hits doubles, gives you good at-bats, works the count, professional at-bats.
You know, I would contend that that kind of a fall-off is not that unusual. I mean, guys come up to the major leagues, you don't know a lot about them. They're riding that wave. They're feeling good about themselves. They continue to do what they did at the minor league level, and then the advanced scouting catches up to you. And this is the big leagues. I mean, occasionally you'll get a pitcher on the mound that has no idea where the ball is going, but for the most part, these guys can hit their spots with regularity, and if you have a hole in your swing, they will find it. The question is then, can you make an adjustment as a hitter to close that hole?
David Peralta seems to be making his adjustments. Well, part of La Stella's issue, we mentioned this the other day, came when they tried to make him the leadoff hitter. It lasted less than a week. He went 2 for 20 up there. And they just sort of said, all right, that's enough. And that's when they went to B.J. Upton, who's hit in every game since.
I mean, we just think back to last season, Didi Gregorius burst upon the scene. Home run, first at bat, driving the ball all over the ballpark, hitting homers and doubles. And the league found a little bit of a hole in his swing on the inside part of the plate, and they just pounded away at it.
Double play ball here. Nick Ahmed can't quite turn to. La Stella beats it out.
Now, Didi, to his credit, has changed his approach at the plate, hitting out of a more athletic stance. The results haven't necessarily followed, but he did close the one weakness in his swing that teams were exploiting. However, occasionally in that process, closing one hole sometimes opens up another one. It's a constant process.
For Gian Bethancourt. Well, Freddie Gonzalez had another issue, and this is something that you could speak to, Bob. He had all his left-hand hitters all kind of bunched up near the top of the order. And they just didn't sit well, wasn't really working out all that well, especially when he had Hayward leading off. La Stella up there as well with Freddie Freeman. But now he's got more right-handers up there every day with the Uptons and Simmons in the 2 spot. La Stella hits lower down now. So all those lefties for a while were all bunched up there at the top of the order. Now they're more spread out.
It makes it a lot more difficult to play matchups later in the ball game when you've got righty-lefty. That's ideally what a manager likes. Righty-lefty, righty-lefty.
The military lineup, yep. Right, left, right, left. Aaron Hill's under that one. But the Braves get a run, and through 4, D-backs lead Atlanta 2-1. It's at Chase Field, D-backs and Cubs 1:10. It's Star Wars Day. Luke Leia, the whole gang will be there. Plus, the first 5,000 kids in attendance get this back-to-school backpack courtesy of Cox Communications. When you buy your tickets, why not get the most bang for your buck? Make it a D-backs value pack that includes a bleacher ticket, a hot dog or a Subway sandwich, a regular Pepsi, and a coupon for a free cookie, all for only $21. For tickets, visit dbacks.com/value, and we'll see you at Chase Field Sunday, July 20th, D-backs and Cubs for Star Wars Day.
Boy, any of our Diamondbacks fans watching today that are from the South, they're very familiar with the Waffle House. Great place to
well, yeah.
late at night or early in the morning, whatever the case may be. Well, look at this. This is at the Waffle House down on the concourse. Look at the red sign at the top. Now serving Bert's Chili. I didn't know you were branching out.
Well, you know, I saw an opportunity.
Good. You'll get great exposure there at the Waffle House.
Vacancy in the marketplace, I thought. And I thought, what goes better with waffles than chili? So I jumped right in there.
Maple syrup and kidney beans.
Got a group together, and we got a little thing going there. Nice. Strike one to Nick Ahmed.
Very nice.
We'll have to have you over sometime.
Yeah.
It's on the house.
It's a great place to people watch.
Well, it's where all the beautiful people hang out, waiting for the chili or the waffles. I think there's a Waffle House at the end of every off-ramp exit on every highway in the South.
If you're planning on meeting a buddy to carpool somewhere, you can't just say, meet me at the Waffle House. 1,000 of them. Be more specific.
People like their waffles and their chili. 2-1. Popped him up. Bethencourt will give it a look. He's got room. One out in the fifth. If you like to watch young catchers, and I know my partner does, there's two good ones coming up in the National League. This kid right here, Christian Bethencourt, and the Padres have a guy, Austin Hedges. Big time catch and throw guys.
Yeah, and occasionally those big time catch and throw guys continue to develop the offensive side of their game, and they become the Jonathan Lucroix and Yadier Molinas of the league. And other times maybe the offense never catches up to the defense and they become Henry Blanco or Gerald Laird and still have a great career because of their skills behind the plate.
Is there a negative connotation to that? Because that's one we always hear. Oh, this guy's a great catch and throw guy. Which is kind of code for he can't hit.
Yeah. I mean, it can be, but, you know, like I mentioned, a guy like Henry Blanco, Gerald Laird, there's been a lot of them. Bruce Bochy back during his playing days, tremendous backup catcher. You can put him in there 1 or 2 days a week, maybe even more sparingly than that. And you know you're going to get a good defensive effort. You know they're going to call a good game for your pitcher, and you know they're going to stop the other team's running game. Anything you get offensively is a bonus. And that's what most teams look for in their backup catcher. They want somebody that's going to keep the ball in front, slow down the running game, get their pitchers through a ball game, and, hey, we'll take whatever offense you happen to provide.
Wade Miley keeping both coaches on either base busy. Bethencourt is a guy whose throwing arm from behind the plate has been stuff of legend ever since he was a teenager. Miley strikes out. That's the first strikeout today for Alex Wood. How about a guy like Tuffy?
Yeah, Tuffy's another guy. You know, his calling card is his defense behind the plate. I mean, even though he's unknown pretty much around the game, if you talk to people within the game, they'll rave about Tuffy's catching, his blocking, his throwing, his preparation, the way he gets his pitcher through a ball game.
He is a dirt dog back there, there's no question.
Bob Uecker was a backup catcher, worked out pretty good for him, gave him lots of fodder for jokes over the years.
Got about 50 years worth. Ender Inciarte 0 for 2. Ender has it safely in 3 straight games in 10 of his last 11. Hitting an even 300 over that stretch. And all as the D-backs leadoff man.
Alex Wood looking for a 1-2-3 inning here. From the University of Georgia, second-round pick just 2 years ago.
I mentioned it in game 1 of the series. For my money, the Braves are as good as any organization in baseball of scouting, signing, developing guys from their home state here in Georgia. Even if guys came from elsewhere, went to school here.
Tapped to short. Andrelton Simmons, that big arm, and he just does get Inciarte at first. Wood is now retired 5 in a row. D-backs lead the Braves 2-1. Throwing arms has a cannon out there at shortstop. And he made that an awfully close play, but it looks like Kirk Gibson has decided they will not challenge. So no challenge on the field. One more look. Simmons just does get Ender at first. And now we'll go to the home half of the 5th. Back at Turner Field, pitcher Alex Wood, a 1-1 count to open up the home half of the 5th. It was not much of a hitter his first time up. Struck out. Miley has 5 strikeouts. On the afternoon, 1 walk. It's a 2-1 ball game. Paul Goldschmidt, a 2-run homer in the 3rd, his 16th of the year, and Wood strikes out to open up the 5th. Here's B.J. Upton. Just talking about his success in this spot as the leadoff man, a career-high 11-game hitting streak, but so far he's 0 for 2. He struck out his last time up. Freddie Gonzalez saying earlier in the year that B.J. Upton was hitting the ball as hard as he's ever seen him hit a ball and not getting anything for it. But now he's getting some of those balls to drop in for base hits, and that's made a difference. He has had back-to-back 2-hit games after getting exactly 1 hit during each of the first 9 games of his now 11-game hit streak. Called strike 3, 7 strikeouts for Miley, 2 down in the 5th. He gets BJ for the 2nd time today.
Throughout this series, the Braves have taken a lot of fastballs in 2-strike counts. That one, BJ's upset about there. That ball caught plenty of plate that time. It almost looks like they look fastballs early in the count and then turn around and look for breaking pitches in a 2-strike count. And some of the Diamondbacks pitchers have been able to sneak that 2-strike fastball right by them.
2 outs. Shortstop Andrelton Simmons, 1 for 2 with a single. First pitch is hit in the air to right center field. Inciarte and Cody Ross. It'll be Ross. And Wade Miley works a very quick 1-2-3 fifth. 2 on D-backs. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Coming up in the 6th, it's Paul Goldschmidt. So far, 2 for 2 with a home run.
At Turner Field, I'm Todd Walsh. Welcome back to our coverage of Diamondbacks baseball. Just to chase our Geico quote of the game from a couple of innings ago, guys. Paul Goldschmidt. It was interesting. We were in Pittsburgh after a game one night. He was meeting with some family and friends after the game, and he settled up to us and said, "Is it really true that Diamondback fans are voting like 10,000 votes at a time?" He had heard the stories that Diamondback fans were coming to Chase Field to pick up boxes and boxes of all-star ballots. He'd seen some of the photos that we've been tweeting and talking about of people going to all-star game voting parties to the tune of 50, 60, 70,000 ballots a night per person, and it blew him away. And that's just the kind of guy he is. I think it's going to be a worthy day for him. And we will talk to him before we depart Atlanta. That interview will be up and available on our website, foxsportsarizona.com, once the official announcement is made tonight.
Thank you, Todd. Aaron Hill will lead off the 6th, 0 for 2 so far. It has been an amazing effort by Diamondback fans all over the globe in their support of Paul Goldschmidt for the All-Star Game July 15th on Fox in Minneapolis. Let's take a look at the most updated votes. They do this once a week, so it might have changed over the course of the week, but it's not going to do anything to damage his 1 million vote lead over Mark Reynolds.
Well, you certainly wouldn't think so. I don't know if there's a more deserving candidate to start that All-Star game than Paul Goldschmidt. His humble nature, it just astounds him when fans go to all the trouble that they've gone to this year to vote for him. He says, "I'm just a ball player."
Well, he's a pretty good one. He's got a single and a 2-run homer.
He's a lot more than just a ball player. Every organization would love to have a point man like Paul Goldschmidt. All he does, not only on the field, which is certainly what he's being recognized for with the All-Star votes, but everything he does off the field, the way he carries himself, the tremendous example he sets for young players. Of course, all the tremendous charity work he does for Phoenix Children's Hospital. Unsolicited, doesn't ask for cameras to show up or writers to show up from the newspapers. He just goes and does it.
And he gets a almost immediate walk from Alex Wood. Diamondbacks have not had a player voted to start the All-Star game since Gonzo in 2001. Hopefully Goldie will be the 4th, including, of course, starting pitchers Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling.
3 walks for Alex Wood. And a 1-out base runner for Martin Prado, the former Brave, who's 0 for 2. Prado has done well so far against the Braves as a D-back. 11 games versus Atlanta. He's hit .350 with just 1 extra base hit. In the air along the left field line, drifting near the seats, and that's out of play. Martin Prado admits his offensive game this year should have been firing on all cylinders since day one, just hasn't happened. But thinks his balance is coming back. He thinks he was reaching at a lot of balls. Bob, that's something you mentioned last week, actually.
Yeah, last year and occasionally this year, when we've seen him at his best, it's when he really sits back and lets that ball travel and hits it deep in the zone, whether it's to the opposite field or gets the bat head out in front just a little bit and pulls it to left field. When he gets that weight out on the front foot, it's almost like he's feeling for the ball, and he's had tremendous bat control, and when you're just feeling for the ball, you're going to put it in play weakly, and certainly that's not what Martin or the Diamondbacks are looking for.
If you saw him in spring training, you would have sworn he was about to win a batting title. Another double play possibility here. Simmons, LaStella, Freeman, and they roll it. Prado has hit into a lot of double plays lately. And there's one more. Bottom 6 coming up. D-backs lead at 2-1. In part by Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. By Jack in the Box. If the D-backs hit a home run today, score a free Jumbo Jack tomorrow with a purchase of a large drink. And by Cox Communications. Bundle and save with Cox. Atlanta, Georgia fans, look to Minneapolis, Minnesota for Tuesday, July 15th. That's where baseball's best will gather. The Major League Baseball All-Star Game, Derek Jeter's final All-Star appearance. Special coverage begins at 1:30 on Fox Sports 1, followed by the All-Star Game at 4:30, only on Fox. The stars will be announced later this afternoon. Actually, not too, it's 4:30 Eastern time, right? So about 90 minutes or so. Paul Goldschmidt should be there. He has been on base 3 times. A single, a homer, and a walk. And now Kurt Gibson having a discussion with Jeff Nelson is the crew chief. The timing, if you may have noticed, has not been spot on here at the ballpark today. There are officials from each home ballpark that kind of coordinate this, and it needs an upgrade today. There's the gentleman. There's the gentleman who he's called the Red Hat for obvious reasons, and he holds up little color-coded cards to signal exactly how much time is left before things start. And Kirk Gibson is out there saying, hey, my guy's ready to go. And that's a 25-second warning, and we're still not playing here. What's the deal?
The blue means we're still in break. The yellow at 25 seconds. Umpires might have an early flight to their next city. They want to keep this one moving. I'll tell you who else is keeping it moving. Wade Miley, 17 punch-outs in his last 13 innings of work. And we know Wade Miley is not a big-time strikeout pitcher, but I think it speaks to what Tuffy talked about before the game, his command. Keeping that ball down in the zone, on the edges of the zone.
He's got 7 strikeouts so far today, and as usual, Freddie Freeman swinging at the first pitch, fouls it back. I'm not so sure the high strikeouts are a great thing for Wade, because as we've talked about many times, he's most effective when he's throwing ground balls, and he kind of rolls along with ground balls, and you look up and oh hum, he's giving up 3 hits, and it's the 7th, 8th inning, and there's a lot of 6-3s and 5-4s and all that.
Especially when those ground balls come on the first or second pitch of an at bat, because obviously you have to throw at least 3 to strike a guy out. I've figured that out in all my years in baseball.
There's a ground ball out. Aaron Hill. They retire Freeman, 1 away in the 6th. It's certainly much more efficient to get those ground balls.
Sure. More democratic, too. Get your defense involved. Yeah, normally you don't see quite as many strikeouts from Wade Miley, but you see a lot more ground balls, and that's about a typical number of flyouts for Wade Miley, pitching in the bottom of the 6th of the ball game.
What generates ground balls?
Well, obviously location, down in the zone. A hitter's more likely to hit the top half of the baseball. Movement, if you have a little sink on the ball or some downward movement on your slider, where a hitter once again is more likely to hit the top half of the baseball.
Walked Justin Upton in Upton's last plate appearance, and he came around and scored on the Chris Johnson single for the Braves' only run. He's behind him here, 2-0.
It's only the second time Wade Miley has fallen behind a Braves hitter 2-0 in this ball game here into the bottom of the 6th inning.
The walk to Upton in the 4th is only base on balls issued so far today. There's a strike, 2-0.
Boy, that's a great equalizer. The ability to throw something other than a fastball when you're behind in the count. 2-0. I guarantee you Justin Upton was gearing up for a fastball middle in. And Wade Miley dropped that slider right on the outer third of the plate to steal a strike and a 2-0 count.
That slider is the pitch he is throwing more and more this year. Last year when he was getting all those ground ball outs and he was top 10 in the major leagues in ground ball percentage, he was a lot of two-seam fastball. But the slider has become a little more of a put-away pitch for him this year. When he's getting it down, and he strikes out Upton for strikeout number 8. Let's take a look at the Wade Miley slider, Bob, good and bad.
Well, sliders and fastballs in this sequence here. You'll see this one's a hard slider. Look at the downward movement. That's when he's at his best with that slider. Occasionally he gets around and it's a little flatter, but as long as he's got that downward movement, he's either going to get a ground ball or a swing and a miss.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, really good stuff.
Jason Hayward.
Well, once again, a called third strike on a fastball right down the middle of the plate to Justin Upton. I really think that perhaps their approach under hitting coach Greg Walker against the Diamondback staff has been to look off speed in 2-strike counts, because they have taken a boatload of hittable fastballs in 2-strike counts.
Backhanded by Goldie. He'll take it himself, and Miley has set down 8 in a row. Through 6, he leads it 2-1.
Coming up right after the game, it is our very next installment of the 10th inning, and we will take you to Yarnell, a year and change since the Granite Mountain Hotshots, all those men up there lost their lives, the Yarnell 19, and we'll check in with the family of one of them, Wade Parker, who was a huge baseball fan. We'll document just what the game of baseball meant to Wade and what it means to his family and friends as they move on with their lives. It is a story you don't want to miss. It's already up on our website. It's worth checking out if you can't join us for the 10th inning. Plus, we'll go to the Fender Guitar headquarters for a jam with Bronson Arroyo, Aaron Hill, and Mark Trumbo, with a little Pearl Jam tossed in for good measure.
Well, with Bronson, you have to have Pearl Jam. It's kind of like a rule.
Yes, that is true.
10th inning follows our ball game here today. Diamondbacks, as we start the 7th, more or less on time, lead the Braves 2-1. David Peralta against Alex Wood. First pitch swinging high in the air, center field. B.J. Upton.
Well, this day of baseball history for you, partner. Back in 1986, a little bit of a Brave flavor, a little bit of Valley of the Sun. This guy went to ASU. Bob Horner, on this day in baseball history, hit 4 home runs against the Expos at Old Fulton County Stadium in an 11-8 loss to the Expos.
They lost a lot in those days. Boy, Bob Horner could rake.
I'll tell you what, he used to stand with his toes right on the inside corner of the plate and just dare you to try to pitch him inside. As quick a bat as you could possibly imagine for a big, strong guy. Boy, he was something else.
Cody Ross. Bob Horner, of course, went to high school in Glendale. ASU Sun Devil, Todd Walsh.
I have to tell you this, guys. I was just at Apollo High School recently. That's where he went. I was there for a volleyball tournament, started walking around and wandering and got lost and stumbled upon the trophy case for the baseball teams that Bob Horner was on. I mean, you wouldn't even recognize this kid. He was like a toothpick. But I know some people that went to high school with him at Apollo that adored him, he and his brother. Those teams were absolutely rock solid. If you want just a taste of baseball history in Arizona, find your way to Apollo High School. Walk down those halls and look at those giant championship team photos they have. Bob Horner prominently. He's just a part of the DNA of the baseball history to the major leagues from Arizona.
Alex Wood has gone to 3 ball counts and all 3 Cody Ross at bats here this afternoon. 3-1 is in there for a strike. Yeah, Bob Horner, 1978 Rookie of the Year as a 20-year-old. At 23 homers. 33 homer season, 35 homers, 32 homers, a couple of 27 home run seasons. On the ground is short. Simmons with the arm.
I've got to say, Todd, I've been to Apollo High School, went over there to watch some summer league games when my son was playing on a traveling team, and I didn't see those trophy cases because I didn't get lost.
Wandering the holes. You get to class. Tuffy goes away, show for 2.
I'm told that 3 of Bob Horner's 4 homers that day came against Andy McGaffigan, a former teammate of mine, and 1 against closer Jeff Reardon. Tell you, when he was locked in, when he was in his zone, it didn't matter who was on the mound. He was going to turn it around. I would venture to guess that of his 218 career homers, 200 of them came to straightaway left field or the foul pole in left.
Old school dead pole power hitter.
Yep.
From the right-hand side.
Third baseman's nightmare.
Bethencourt hangs on. There's the strikeout, just the second for Alex Wood. And as we get set to sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game and stretch at Turner Field, today USAA would like to pay special recognition to all our service members at home and abroad. We'll stay here in Atlanta and honor America on this 4th of July weekend.
While the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear allegiance
to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair,
as we raise our voices in a solemn prayer.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you in part by Lone Butte Casino. You're in for more winning moments at Lone Butte Casino. And by Cox Communications. Bundle and save with Cox.
Back in Atlanta. Don't forget, FoxSportsArizona.com. All the local sports you won't get anywhere else. You'll have post-game reaction from the Diamondbacks clubhouse on both the game and the trade today. Brandon McCarthy now a New York Yankee. And the Mercury look to improve on the WNBA's best record. All that and more, FoxSportsArizona.com. Chris Johnson has driven in Atlanta's only run, an RBI single his last time up. That was the 4th inning. As Wade Miley's rolling along here as he opens up the home half of the 7th. He's given up 4 hits, all singles. Just 1 walk. He has 8 strikeouts, and he has retired the last 8 he's faced. The strikeout pitch has been working once again for Wade Miley. Up there against a guy that strikes out about once out of every 4 at-bats. Evan Marshall loosening up in the Diamondback bullpen. Not in a big hurry.
I like the idea that they at least have him started, though. Playing a little bit of catch in a 1-run ball game, things can slip away quickly.
Lined right to Nick Ahmed. 1 away in the 7th. I guess you always have to hope for the best and be ready for the worst.
Plan for the worst, yep. Yeah, you can see Evan not really cranking it up yet at this point, just kind of pitching along with the inning, just playing a little bit of catch, getting to the point where if a base runner got on base, he could really hump it up 4 or 5 pitches and be ready to come into the ball game with the 8 warm-up pitches he gets on the game mound.
Tommy La Stella, one of the 4 Atlanta hits, a single back in the 2nd. And I guess as the manager, you also have to keep in mind that some guys warm up faster than others, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we saw it earlier this season when Trevor Cahill and Randall Delgado both went to the bullpen for the Diamondbacks, 2 guys that had been in the rotation. They're going to take a little bit longer than an Evan Marshall or Brad Ziegler, guys that are used to hearing that phone ring, getting their heart rate up before they even pick up a baseball. And they're used to getting ready quickly.
The exact right time to pull the plug. It is a moving target. Two and 2. It's full.
Well, that's a good spot, even though they didn't get the call. Might have been just a hair off that outside corner, but that fastball at the knees on the outside corner, if you can throw it there every time, you're going to have a pretty successful career on that mound.
Broken bat, absolutely sawed it off. Goldie steps on the bag. Miley's now retired 10 in a row. It's that time again, as promised earlier. AT&T fan photo of the game using the hashtag AZFanPhoto, and the winner is Joshua.
Wow.
Got some big leaguers.
Some heavy hitters right there. Boy, Richard picked a good one today. Senator John and Cindy McCain, Gonzo, Derek Hall,
President and CEO of the D-backs, Derek Hall, Gonzo.
Richard is taking a big step forward today.
That's just a power play is what that is.
Yeah.
That's one you kind of keep in your back pocket until the end of the road trip, and then, oh, I got this card right here, and I think, Mr. Brenly, that'll about do it.
The cleanup hitter of AT&T photos.
I think Richard had a pretty, that one really changed his grade. I was going to say decent road trip. He might have upgraded there with that one.
Big time.
Yeah, that was solid work. Christian Bethancourt, 0 for 2. Braves have not had a base runner since Chris Johnson's RBI single in the 4th.
7th 0-2 count in the ball game for Wade Miley. As a matter of fact, that full count that he just had on Tommy La Stella was the first time in this ball game that a Braves hitter had gone to a full count.
I saw Dan Uggla in the on-deck circle, ready to hit for the pitcher should Bethancourt reach. And he does. Base hit to left. So a rare sighting of Dan Uggla here at Turner Field. Don't see this a lot. Jordan Walden is throwing the bullpen. This will do it for Alex Wood. In a 2-1 ball game here in the 7th. Dan Uggla currently in a 3 for 43. And it looks like Kirk Gibson is ready to counter the move now that Uggla has been announced. Gerardo Parra jogging out to right field. It looks like a double switch here. So Cody Ross will come out, replaced by Parra in right. Evan Marshall, the right-hander, has been throwing for the D-backs. And now Gibby goes to the mound. Wade Miley, before the Bethancourt 2-out single, had retired 10 in a row. 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. He leads leading 2-1 with 2 outs in the 7th. Back after this. Atlanta, another outstanding performance today from D-backs lefty Wade Miley. He's our APS Energy All-Star.
Just what the doctor ordered. One of our keys to the game today was Wade needs to get deep into the ball game. Pitches 2 outs into the 7th here, surrendering only 5 base hits and 1 earned run. Nice job, Wade Miley.
He's responsible for the base runner, Christian Bethancourt at first base. 2 outs in the 7th. Dan Uggla announced as the pinch hitter. And on for the Diamondbacks is the rookie right-hander Evan Marshall.
Look at Marshall's numbers. 24th appearance of the season. Striking out about a batter per inning. Opponents hitting just over 250 against him. Boy, for Dan Uggla, it's been a while. He doesn't get to see the field very often. He went over a month between base hits, as you see Gerardo Parra taking over defensively in right field for Cody Ross.
Uggla 0-for-9 on the year as a pinch hitter. He has been buried at the back end of the bench, where he's making pretty good money. But the production has not matched the level of performance. Steps up here, 1 for his last 19. Uggla on a 5-year, $62 million deal. They are still paying him through the end of next season, but hardly plays at all anymore.
I think with his increased free time, he spent more time in the weight room. I think his forearms are even bigger now than they were last year.
Still leading the league. Marshall behind 2-0. He will do that a lot. Uggla over his last 28 games, 15 of those starts, hitting .083. Three and one. The spiral has just continued, and he just has not been able to get out of it.
Marshall misses a spot by a wide margin here. You see where Tuffy sets up and gives the target, but just blows it right by Dan Uggla up and in.
Three balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Bethancourt, the runner at first, off of the pitch. Here it is. Ball 4. Tying run now at second. Go ahead run at first. Leadoff man steps up. It's B.J. Upton. A career high 11-game hit streak, but today 0 for 3 with a pair of strikeouts.
Toby Basner's had a pretty tight strike zone all day. That one may have just nipped that outside corner just above the knees, but Evan Marshall does not get the call.
Well, you really got to look right there. Of all the moving parts of the B.J. Upton swing, the feet and those hands and that waving whippy motion.
And believe it or not, he's actually simplified his approach quite a bit. He used to come down with that front foot, and the bottom of his shoe would actually be pointed toward the pitcher as he was up on that left toe. They've gotten rid of some of the excessive movement, but still a lot of things going on.
Greg Walker, the hitting coach, has been saying they've been trying to get that hand movement less violent, get it over with earlier in the swing. There's a lot of parts to synchronize here in this approach. And that's led to a lot of issues. Last year hit 184. A ball and 2 strikes. Just does stay alive. It's amazing he ever actually gets started. It's like a grandfather clock that goes back and forth, a metronome, and finally the swing comes around. It leads to a lot of strikeouts. Bethancourt, the runner at second. Uggla, the runner at first. 2 balls and 2 strikes to B.J. Upton. Got him. Evan Marshall a walk to Uggla, but he gets B.J. Upton. Upton's 3rd strikeout this afternoon. And Marshall strands 2. It stays at 2-1. D-backs lead. Gila River game summary from here at Turner Field in Atlanta. Paul Goldschmidt, the game's big hit, a 2-run home run in the third. Goldie's 16th of the year. And the Diamondbacks are hanging on. Wade Miley outstanding once again. 5 hits, scattered, 8 strikeouts, only 1 walk. And now it's a bullpen game. Jordan Walden, we saw him on Friday night.
It's the third of an inning on Friday night. I was talking to Chip Carey, the fine announcer for the Atlanta Braves, before the ballgame about Walden and his very unique delivery, the way he leaps off that rubber and releases the ball toward home plate. Supposedly, if you believe Chip, and why wouldn't you, a professor over at Georgia State University who, I don't know whether he's physics or geometry or what he was, but he analyzed Jordan Walden's delivery and that little bit of an advantage he gets leaping forward there and then throwing a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. From the place he releases the ball, a 95-mile-an-hour heater would look like 111 miles per hour to a hitter. He's releasing the ball that much closer to home plate because of the way he jumps off of that rubber.
Take a look. Former Anaheim Angel does the hop off there. Didn't they say the same thing about Randy Johnson because he was just so tall?
And he got such great extension out over his front leg. The ball just was a little closer to home plate when he let it go.
2-0 to Nick Ahmed. Right field. Hayward fighting that sun. Can he find it? He's got it. Let's take a look at it's not Walden's pond, but it's Walden's hop.
Now watch the right foot as he comes forward here and leaps off the rubber, lands on that left foot, gains 8 to 10 inches, a little closer to home plate than the average pitcher.
1 out for Gerardo Parra. Parra came into the game in the last half inning as a defensive replacement for Cody Ross after the double switch. Batting 9th now. Pitcher spot is 6th in the D-backs lineup. There's a strike, 0-1. Parra on base 3 times yesterday. A pair of hits at a base on balls. He drove in a run. 253 on the year with 5 homers. He is 3 for 27 on the road trip. Diamondback bullpen. Brad Ziegler will apparently get the bottom of the 8th. The Marshall, Ziegler, Reed trifecta in play again here this afternoon. 1-2.
Yeah, but because of the double switch, when Marshall and Gerardo Parra came into the game together, if you wanted to, you could send Marshall back out to start the inning and have Brad Ziegler in reserve in case a runner gets on base. But the way Brad's warming up, it looks like he's getting ready to come into the game.
Two and two. It's been a tough road trip for Parra. 3 for 27 with an RBI. Two down in the 8th. He strikes out.
Let's take a look at the delivery of Jordan Walden on Phantom Cam. Had it out here Friday night. Once again, watch that right foot as he comes forward. Leaps. Both feet are in the air. He lands on the front foot and then drives that ball toward home plate in the mid to upper 90s.
I wonder how many pitching coaches over the years have tried to change that.
Yeah, you'll never be successful throwing like that. Yeah, you need tickets to a game.
Ender Inciarte. Ender's got a 3-game hit streak on the line here. Jordan Walden was a very effective closer for a while. In fact, an all-star when he was with the Angels in 2011, had 32 saves.
Braves got him in November of 2012 for Tommy Hanson. He did not go, says Laz Diaz, at third. Well, the Braves' last 6 outs won't be easy to get. Andrelton Simmons, their number 2 hitter, will lead off the 8th. It'll be Simmons, Freeman, and Justin Upton. He is getting better and better at just spoiling good pitches. Ender Inciarte up there, extending at bats. Ryan Ziegler will get that trio. It's in the dirt, a full count, 3-2. That's the kind of thing that happens when you foul off a lot of pitches. Suddenly spikes one, now it's full. If he misses here, if you got a 2-out base runner. Case in point. Inciarte aboard. Aaron Hill coming up.
Well, pitchers eventually get frustrated. Come on, put it in play. Jeez, making all these pitches, just throw it over the plate there and put it in play.
It always reminds me of the story you tell about Don Robinson.
Yeah. He later was a teammate of mine with the Giants, but at the time, Don Robinson, pitching for the Pittsburgh Pirates at old Three River Stadium, it got to a full count, and I forget the exact number, 7, 8, maybe 9 foul balls in a row. I pulled down the left field line. Finally, Donnie just stepped up in front of the pitcher's mound and said, "Hey, I ain't throwing nothing but fastballs. Put it in play." And I think I obliged him by popping out to left field on the next pitch.
Psych job. Well, this is when they get a little tired. Concentration wanes a bit. They make a mistake. Looking at an easy 1, 2, 3 inning. He's got 2 strikes on Inciarte and then loses him. Now he's got to get Aaron Hill out. And he's also got to worry about a pretty good base runner over there.
Yeah, you would assume with that leap forward that Walden makes out there on the rubber that Inciarte should be able to get a pretty decent jump should he choose to steal. You've got a pretty strong throwing arm behind home plate. You have to balance those things out. You may have a pitcher on the mound that's very slow to the plate, but a catcher behind the plate that can make up for it with his throwing arm.
There goes Ender Inciarte. That ball is lifted in the air to right field. Easy play for Jason Hayward. Bottom 8 coming up. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Andrelton Simmons and then Freddie Freeman for the Braves, followed by Justin Upton.
Is presented by Sanderson Ford. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly, Todd Walsh along the way from Atlanta, Georgia. This series and road trip finale. It's on an airplane back home to the great state of Arizona right after this one. And it's a bullpen ball game here in the 8th. We've seen Evan Marshall in relief of Wade Miley. And now it's Brad Ziegler. D-backs bullpen trying to nail it down for Wade Miley, who was outstanding once again. Scattered 5 singles, walked 1, and had 8 strikeouts. Marshall ended the 7th. Now Ziegler opens up the 8th. Andrelton Simmons, the shortstop, 1 for 3. He leads it off. Base hit. So Andrelton Simmons has now had exactly 2 hits in 5 straight games.
That one just past a diving Nick Ahmed at shortstop. Once again, first pitch hacking from a Braves hitter. It was one of the highlights in our keys to the game. Watch that first pitch. Brad Ziegler just trying to jump ahead with a middle of the plate fastball, and Simmons all over it into center field for a leadoff hit. Watch the first pitch here, too.
Freddie Freeman loves swinging at the first pitch if it's anywhere near the strike zone. Tying run at first, nobody out. Right to Nick Ahmed. He'll settle for 1. He jumped on it.
That's one of the things that makes Freddie Freeman a good hitter, and in my opinion will continue to be a good hitter throughout his career. Even though he's up there cherry picking that first fastball he sees, he's not always trying to pull it. He just tries to hit it hard wherever it's pitched. That time a line drive right at Nick Ahmed for the first out.
Justin Upton walked to lead off the 4th, the only walk issued by Miley, and sure enough he scored the Braves' only run. Came in on a Chris Johnson single. Tries to bunt. And you got your cleanup hitter bunting. Look at Martin Prado.
Not even in the picture right there. Not a terrible idea, although I would imagine most of the fans here that went, what? Would rather see Justin Upton try to hit the ball in the air to the outfield somewhere, but just looking to get on base and push that potential tying run into scoring position for Jason Hayward and others.
Justin Upton this year has hit far better here at Turner Field than he has on the road. A .322 hitter at home this year, including 11 of his home runs. He's hitting under .230 away from this ballpark. 1-1. Simmons 3 for 6 this year in his stolen base attempts. Justin Upton 2 for 3 against Brad Ziegler. He walked and struck out twice against Wade Miley.
Brad Ziegler looking to induce that double play ball, something he's been as good as any reliever in baseball. I mean, considerably better than any other reliever in baseball going back to the beginning of the 08 season. 86 double plays. The next closest relief pitcher sits at 64. Get that submarine sinker down, throw that frisbee off the outside edge, get some contact on the ground.
That frisbee got away from him a bit. 2-2. It's full. Well below league average with a 3-2 count. Simmons takes off, ball 4. Second walk for Upton today. So now the tying run is at second. The go-ahead run is at first with 1 out. And here comes Jason Hayward.
Earlier in the ballgame, Jason Hayward, one of the Braves' left-handed hitters that does not handle left-handed pitching well, only 133. He's a .282 hitter against righties with 6 home runs.
0 for 3 today. 2 on, 1 out. Aaron Hill knocks it down. They'll get 1. Aaron Hill pounced on that one, keeping it from rolling into right field for a base hit. But now the Braves have the go-ahead runs in scoring position with 2 outs for Chris Johnson.
It was hit like a bullet to the right side. Just time for a couple of steps and a dive. Aaron Hill knocked it down, and because it was hit so hard, had plenty of time to get to his feet and recover and at least get the out at first base.
Chris Johnson, the former D-back. 2 on, 2 out in a 1-run game in the 8th inning. Johnson has the Braves' only RBI. RBI single in the 4th, 1 for 3.
Consistently pulling his head off the ball once he starts that swing. Just isn't tracking it all the way into the hitting zone, which is, I'm sure, a major reason why he swings and misses so much.
He will expand the strike zone. Swings at a lot of pitches that just aren't strikes, and will get himself out if you give him the chance. In fact, this year he is among the worst in baseball at swinging at pitches outside the strike zone. Simmons is the tying run at 3rd. Justin Upton the go-ahead run at 2nd. 2 balls and a strike to Chris Johnson. Brad's missed way out there several times in this inning. Goes inside there and gets the call. It's full, 3-2.
Well, go figure. An overly aggressive swinger that strikes out a lot gets a 3-1 count in his favor with the potential tying and winning runs on base and takes a fastball. Go figure.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Here it is. Got him. Chris Johnson strikes out for the 2nd time today. Ziegler strands 2 and keeps it at 2-1. D-backs lead.
best to compete. Man, you know, I'm better if we just kind of just let it go. You know, whatever happens, happens. I said, well, we'll put it next to your name because it just never just happens and you get to September. You have to make it happen. There has to be this discomfort, this anxiety, and it's really healthy. And pretty soon, as a matter of fact, the more you feel it, the more you embrace it.
Todd Walsh back here at Turner Field. One last excerpt from our sit-down interview that we conducted just prior to this road trip with Tony La Russa. I asked him about the comment that he made in his introductory press conference about it's okay for people to be uncomfortable right now while he is observing the entire Diamondbacks organization. And as he also said in that comment, you'll know more about it as we approach spring training, just what I think about that. So the evolution of this change, I guess that's a improper phrase, but the evolution of this whole sequence now moving forward. We're seeing it as well, the ground is moving beneath the feet of the Arizona Diamondbacks at deadline, Steve.
Certainly is, Todd, and guys are moving out. Anthony Varvaro, the right-hander, on to open up the ninth inning against Paul Goldschmidt. Goldie has reached base safely all 3 times he's been up. A single in the first, a 2-run homer in the third, his 16th of the year. He walked his last time up. Started off the weekend by trading Joe Thatcher and Tony Campana to the Angels, and then this morning Brandon McCarthy sent to the Yankees. Addison Reed will get the ninth. Kevin Towers said over the weekend after Joe Thatcher and Tony Campana were traded to Anaheim that the D-backs plan on being active at the deadline, and that the first move just the start of that activity, and they followed through with a trade of McCarthy earlier today. 2-1 to Goldie. Kevin Towers had said the D-backs have done their due diligence in having conversations with different clubs, and the D-backs front office has got a pretty good idea of what they're planning on doing. Step 2 of that plan apparently executed this morning. In fact, one of the reporters asked Kevin Towers, are there going to be more deals coming up? And KT's answer was, all he will say is, stay tuned. And we want to wish Kevin Towers all the best. KT's having some vocal cord surgery coming up, I believe, tomorrow. All our best to Kevin. He'll be quiet for about a week or so. GMs usually don't get that chance this time of year. 3-2 to Goldie. One down in the ninth. Go to our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play of the game. D-backs only runs. This 2-run homer by Paul Goldschmidt in the third off Alex Wood.
No question that was a cool play of the game, but you go back a few hitters before when Wade Miley was able to draw a leadoff walk against Alex Wood, and he came home ahead of Paul Goldschmidt on that home run. That walk was huge.
A leadoff walk to the pitcher in the third inning. Seems fairly innocuous, but it's amazing how often that something like that ends up being the difference in this amazing game. Martin Prado 0 for 3. Last time up, hit into a 6-4-3 double play, something that Martin has done a lot of lately. He's been thinking about mechanical things, something he doesn't like to do. He'd prefer to just go up to home plate and swing the bat. If he sees a good pitch, he'll swing. But he's been thinking about hands, thinking about his front leg a little bit drifting, all kinds of things up there. Bounce through the hole and into left. Base hit for Prado. Fans, our next afternoon game back home at Chase Field will be this Wednesday, July 9th. Hope to see you there. D-backs and the Miami Marlins. That's a 12:40 start. And remember, Each weekday afternoon game this year features matinee ticket prices. You'll also find our everyday value pricing on merchandise and concessions, including $1.50 hot dogs and $4 beers. How can you beat that? Plus the AC at Chase. Come on down Wednesday and see the Marlins and the Diamondbacks. Get your tickets at dbacks.com/matinee. No TV on that game, radio only, so I'm sure you'll hear the normal share of abuse we get from Leo Gilmartin on the radio side. David Peralta. Peralta 1 for 3, a single in the fourth. After the double switch, the pitcher spot is up next for the D-backs. That's 6th in the order. And Roger Kieschnick is in the on-deck circle. Two is along the left field line and slices foul. Peralta 4 for 11 in the series. He's now hit safely in 7 straight games and 8 of his last 9. Kieschnick on deck. In fact, in his last, 25 at bats, Peralta has 12 hits. Prado single, just the 4th hit today for the D-backs. They've been out hit 6-4, but lead it 2-1.
Because the Braves started the lefty Alex Wood today, Kirk Gibson gave some of his lefties the day off, including Miguel Montero. We've seen Gerardo Parra come in as part of the double switch. Didi and Roger Kieschnick also available off the bench. Battle here. Well, the reason I mentioned Miguel Montero's name, he had the game-tying homer against Varvaro on June 7th. In the 10th inning, Diamondbacks eventually won that game in the 11th.
Miguel Montero, a well-deserved day off, leading the major leagues in starts and innings behind the plate. Leading all major league catchers in RBIs, Miggy should get some all-star consideration.
You would think so, yeah.
Need catchers. Avalon the lefty, Simmons the righty. A ball and 2 strikes. Hard down the right field line. That is a foul ball. Boy, Peralta he jumps on those. Dale Murphy down there with a nice catch.
Well, he was a very underrated player in his era. He was really, really good. He used to absolutely kill us when I was playing for the Giants. He was one of the few right-handed hitters that would come into Candlestick Park and hit the ball to the opposite field, which is where the wind tunnel was. Finished his career 2 short of 400 home runs.
He's always the first name that Braves fans throw at you when you talk Hall of Fame.
Yep. And he was a little bit out of that Goldie mold, too. He was just a nice guy, did everything right, a good representative for the organization, good role model for all the youth that came out here and watched the Braves either at Fulton County Stadium or on the Superstation. Always said and did the right thing.
Well, Peralta was down in the count, fouled off a bunch of pitches, and now he's worked it back full 3-2. Number 3 here in Atlanta, Dale Murphy. Three balls and 2 strikes, 1 out. Prado, the runner at first. There he goes. Peralta just does get a piece of it. That's the strikeout. No, he didn't get a piece of it.
I think Bethancourt just lost a handle on the ball in his haste to try to make the exchange quickly and get rid of that throw to second base.
So it winds up as a stolen base for Prado and a strikeout of Peralta. He just dropped it. Roger Kieschnick announced the left-hand hitter. So Freddie Gonzalez will go to his bullpen. Varvaro leads. We take a break at Turner Field. It's 2-1 D-backs in the 9th. Base. And now in for the Braves, it's the left-hander. Saw him Friday night, Luis Avilan.
Can occasionally have command problems, as the 13 walks in 28 2/3 will indicate.
Well, Freddie Gonzalez waited until Roger Kieschnick was announced as the pinch hitter. Then he went to Avilan, his left-hander. Kurt Gibson counters now with a right hand hitting Nick Evans. Nick 1 for 14 this year. The home run at Coors Field June the 3rd. He is 0 for 4 as a pinch hitter this year with 4 strikeouts. Remember, the first 2 times Nick got up in a Diamondback uniform was against Aroldis Chapman, pinch hitting in the 9th inning.
Tough duty.
That's just not right.
Welcome to the big leagues. Go get him.
Martin Prado at second base with 2 outs. Trying to find a way to get that insurance run home. Evans lifts this in the air to right center field. Jason Hayward, long run. He won't get there. Prado will score, and Nick Evans is in at second with a pinch hit RBI double. And there's your insurance. It's 3-1 D-backs.
Nice. I say that because I watch Nick Evans take batting practice every day, and the majority of his BP is spent trying to drive the ball to right center field. Just like he did there against Avilan. Got a pitch out over the plate. Carries his hands very low. Boy, he hit that ball hard. Looked like it had a chance off the bat to maybe even sneak out of here, but it does split the gap, driving home an insurance run.
The St. Mary's High product says finally playing for his hometown D-backs. To say it's a dream come true would be kind of an understatement. And here's another local product, Tuffy Gozowicz. Evans from St. Mary's, Tuffy from Horizon High School. 0 for 3 so far. He struck out his last time up. One misses. It's a ball and a strike.
The fact that Martin Prada was on the move to strike 3 to David Peralta, and Christian Bethancourt dropped the ball behind home plate, put him in scoring position where he was able to come in easily on that double to the gap in right center. Not so sure he could have scored from first.
So many little things. Talked about the leadoff walk to the pitcher in the third and how that for most of the ball game was the difference. Turned the Goldie homer into a 2-run shot. Now an insurance run here in the ninth. 1-1 to Tuffy. In the air to left. Justin Upton is underneath it. And that's the inning. But the Diamondbacks get one. Nick Evans. A pinch hit RBI double with 2 outs in the ninth has made it a 3-1 D-backs lead. Addison Reed coming in to shut the door. Field in Atlanta, bottom 9. The D-backs lead the Braves 3-1, trying to prevent an Atlanta sweep and snap this Braves 9-game winning streak. And on to close is Addison Reed.
19 out of 23 in save opportunities this season. A little bit of a lofty ERA for a closer. Not always that important for a closer, as long as you get 3 outs before they score the runs to tie the game.
Lower third of the Braves order is due up. Tommy La Stella, Christian Bethancourt, and the pitcher's spot. 7, 8, 9 in the Atlanta ninth.
9 of his 19 saves this year have gone 1, 2, 3. Love to see one of those here today.
They're double-fisted on the tomahawk chop, some of them.
Was that really a tomahawk chop, though? I guess 2 tomahawks. Josh Colmentor would be the guy to ask about that.
Well, hopefully it's a we're not worthy. La Stella leads it off. He's 1 for 3. A single in the second.
And the key with Addison Reed is to watch location, watch where Tuffy sets up, watch where he gives the target behind the plate, and see how many times Addison Reed can come close to that target. And back inside.
Base hit. That's near the right field corner. Parra over there to cut it off, and he holds La Stella to a single.
Remember earlier in the ballgame I said it looks like the Braves are looking for off-speed breaking pitches in 2-strike counts. And that time Addison Reed rolled a slider up there, and La Stella was all over it like he knew it was coming.
Christian Bethancourt singled his last time up, 1 for 3. A 3-hit game yesterday. He's hit in 5 of the 6 games in which he's played this year, the rookie catcher. Oh, 2. Got him. 1 down in the 9th.
No messing around that time. Cut fastballs in the low to mid-90s, working away from Bethancourt. Awkward swing that time for strike 3.
Ryan Doumit will hit for the pitcher. Doumit .216 on the year, 3 homers. A switch hitter. The left-hand side is Doumit's stronger side. There's a strike, 0-1. Doumit as a pinch hitter this year. 8 for 34. That's a .235 average. He does have 2 doubles and a home run as a pinch hitter with 5 RBIs. Oh, 2 gets the call there from Toby Basner.
Pretty good pitch, even though Doumit reacted like that ball was way off the plate inside. It looked like it caught plenty of plate. I believe, I'm not sure. Toby Basner looked like he called timeout, but then assumed the position again. I'm not sure if that was a pitch or not. No, I think that was, he called timeout. Usually the umpire, when calling timeout, will jump out of the way to make sure that there's no confusion as to whether or not the pitch counts.
This could end the ball game. Hill, Ahmed, Goldie, they roll it, and the Diamondbacks win. They snap the Braves' winning streak at 9. They salvage the series and the road trip finale. Addison Reed, a strikeout and a double play ball to shut the door.
Good finish today. Addison Reed, much better command. Stuff was very crisp. Got that ground ball right to Aaron Hill at second base to end this one.
Big win for Kirk Gibson's D-backs. They did it with pitching and some offense. Let's begin with Wade Miley.
Yeah, Wade Miley's offense in this ball game, the ability to eyeball that strike zone and take that leadoff walk in the 3rd inning. 2 outs later, Paul Goldschmidt bangs one off the foul pole in left field. Martin Prado, his ability to steal second base there on a strike 3, which set it up for Nick Evans off the bench as a pinch hitter for the pinch hitter. Splits that gap in right center, and that's all the